Item number 2 on our agenda is the reading of the sunshine statement and roll call by our municipal clerk, Mrs. Lauren Stats.
This meeting of the Dunellen Borough Council is called pursuant to the provisions of the Open Public Meetings Law. This meeting of February 20th, 2024 was included in a list of meetings that was advertised in the Courier on January 8th, 2024, and as a teleconference was noticed on the official Dunellen website on February 16th, 2024, and on the public bulletin board on North Avenue on February 16th, 2024, and has remained continuously posted as required notice under the statute. Mayor Salento. Noted absent. Council President Albertson,
Present.
Mrs. Lance,
Here.
Mr. Pauljon,
Here.
Mrs. Rios,
Here.
Mr. Sigmund,
Here.
and Mr. Vandermark.
Here.
Item number 3 on the agenda is the approval of meeting minutes for February 5th, 2024. Can I have a motion and a second?
Move it, Sigmund.
Second, Rios.
Any comments, redactions, or additions to the meeting minutes as they currently stand? Without hearing any, we will take a roll call.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mr. Pauljon,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Sigmund,
Yes.
and Mr. Vandermark.
Yes.
Item number 4 on the agenda is the introduction of ordinances. We have one ordinance to introduce this evening. And I will read that to you. It is Borough of Dunellen Ordinance number 2024-05. The following ordinance is being introduced for the first reading on February 20th, 2024. A second reading and public hearing will be held at 7 p.m. in the Dunellen Borough Municipal Building, 355 North Avenue, Dunellen, New Jersey, on March 4th, 2024. And copies of this ordinance shall be posted on the public bulletin board prior to the date for second reading and final passage, and copies of the ordinance shall be available at the office of the Borough Clerk for any interested members of the public. Okay, so the ordinance authorizes execution of rights of way agreement between the Borough of Dunellen and Comcast of Northwest New Jersey LLC to permit the installation, use, and maintenance of cable television service and telecommunications facilities within public rights of way for purposes of providing cable television and telecommunications services. So now I ask for motion. Okay, may I have a motion to?
Move it, Sigmund.
Second, Rios.
Roll call?
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mr. Pauljon,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Sigmund,
Yes.
Mr. Vandermark.
Yes.
Okay. Item number 5 on the agenda is the adoption of ordinances. Ordinance number 2024-04, ordinance to amend chapter 130 clothing bins.
Move it, Sigmund.
The second?
Second.
Thank you. At this time, the floor is now open to the public for any comments or questions based solely on 2024-04. Please state your name and address. Without hearing any, we will close that portion of the meeting, and I'll open the floor to the mayor and council for comments and questions. Hearing none, can I please have a roll call?
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mr. Pauljon,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Sigmund,
Yes.
and Mr. Vandermark.
Yes.
Okay. We have resolutions now. Resolution number. Okay, the number 6, I don't know where this went. The number 6 on the agenda is our resolutions. Mrs. Stats, our municipal clerk, will read through them. Thank you.
Resolution number 76 is to pay the bills.
Move it, Rios.
Second, Sigmund.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mr. Paulson,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Sigmund,
Yes.
and Mr. Vandermark.
Yes.
Resolution number 77 is to authorize that the land taxes be removed from the Nell, which is 100 South Washington, for 2024, except for the portion of the retail components land taxes as per their financial agreement.
Move it, Rios.
Second, Sigmund.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mr. Paulson,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Sigmund,
Yes.
and Mr. Vandermark.
Yes.
Resolution number 78 is approving an agreement with Capital Benefits LLC as a broker for the Borough of Dunellen.
Move it, Rios.
Second, Sigmund.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mr. Paulson,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Sigmund,
Yes.
and Mr. Vandermark.
Yes.
Resolution number 79 is approving an agreement with EB Employee Solutions LLC, the difference card as for the Borough of Dunellen.
Move it, Sigmund.
Second, Rios.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mr. Paulson,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Sigmund,
Yes.
and Mr. Vandermark.
Yes.
Resolution number 80 is authorizing the borough to submit an application for consideration to the Middlesex County Division of Solid Waste Management for a recycling enhancement grant.
Move it, Rios.
Second, Sigmund.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mr. Paulson,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Sigmund,
Yes.
and Mr. Vandermark.
Yes.
Resolution number 81 is also authorizing consulting services for the feasibility of a special improvement district in the Borough of Dunellen.
Move it, Sigmund.
Second, Rios.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mr. Paulson,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Sigmund,
Yes.
and Mr. Vandermark.
Yes.
Resolution number 82 is to refund clothing bin licensing fees.
Move it, Sigmund.
Second, Rios.
And this is where refunding them because as of the state statute, it needs to be brought down to $25. Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mr. Paulson,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Sigmund,
Yes.
and Mr. Vandermark.
Yes.
Resolution number 83 is a resolution to approve the Church of St. John's for a casino night license on April 20th, 2024.
Move it, Sigmund.
Second, Rios.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mr. Paulson,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Sigmund,
Yes.
Mr. Vandermark.
Yes.
Resolution number 84 is to approve St. John's for an on-premise 50-50 raffle on April 20th, 2024.
Move it, Sigmund. Second, Paulson.
Mrs. Albertson?
Yes.
Mrs. Lance?
Yes.
Mr. Paulson?
Yes.
Mrs. Rios?
Yes.
Mr. Sigmund?
Yes.
Mr. Vandermark.
Yes.
Resolution number 85 is a resolution to accept the resignation of Julie Groff as program manager.
Move it, Sigmund.
Second, Rios.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mr. Paulson,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Sigmund,
Yes.
and Mr. Vandermark.
Yes.
Resolution number 86 is to approve street corner fundraising by the Dunellen American Legion Post 119.
Move it, Sigmund.
Second, Rios.
And then this is just for canning for them. Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mr. Paulson,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Sigmund,
Yes.
and Mr. Vandermark.
Yes.
Resolution number 87 is to transfer appropriation reserves for the 2023 operating accounts.
Move it, Sigmund.
Second, Rios.
Mrs. Albertson,
Yes.
Mrs. Lance,
Yes.
Mr. Paulson,
Yes.
Mrs. Rios,
Yes.
Mr. Sigmund,
Yes.
and Mr. Vandermark.
Yes.
Okay, next up on the agenda is council reports. I'll give mine. Fire department, the building is moving along. Be sure to drive by and see how nice it looks. They're hoping to move in sometime by April. The Friends of the Dunellen Public Library are hosting a Women's History presentation on March 14th at 6:30 PM in the library. It's starring Alyssa Dupay, actress and historian. She will regale us with stories of women of all creeds who contributed to the success of our Revolutionary War for independence in a first-person portrayal of Annis Boudin Stockton, a Revolutionary era patriot, writer, and poet. Shade Tree Commission meets next week on March 13th at 7 PM, and the Downtown Dunellen Management Organization, DDMO, will be hosting their annual Spring into Wellness event at the grand opening of the Friends of the Dunellen Public Library Open Air Market on April 21st from 11 AM to 3 PM. For more information, contact DDMO or the Friends of the Dunellen Public Library. Both of are on Facebook. Mrs. Rios?
Yes, Dunellen Recreation Department. The last Saturday morning basketball finished last week. Thank you to our rec coaches and volunteer parents for another successful season. We had 89 total players enrolled. We have one more Monday night game for our 5th and 6th graders at Dunellen High School. The Adult Jogging Club has started back up, and its first run, February 11th, registration is now open. This is a free program. The jogging club meets every other week at Washington Park, Sundays at 8 AM. Spring Open Soccer. We are in need of parent volunteers. It is a low commitment program. Each grade level meets once a week for loose practice play. Hometown Hero Banners. Registration is open. Let me see, registration to order a banner is March 1st. These banners will be hung up in the downtown area from May through November. Board of Education. All meetings start at 7 PM and go immediately into executive session. Public sessions will begin approximately at 7:30 PM unless otherwise specified. Board meetings will be held in person at Lincoln Middle School cafeteria and can be streamed live on YouTube and at the time of the meeting. There is a board meeting today, and the next one will be on March 12th, which is their tentative budget presentation meeting. There's a calendar change due to the use of the third inclement weather day this year. March 8th is now going to be a school day for students. The day was originally slotted to be a staff-only professional development. So please make note of the change now, and they will send a number of reminders as they get closer to March 8th. Tuesday, March 5th, early dismissal for favor only. Dunellen Public Library. The Dunellen Public Library will continue hosting popular regular weekly programs for the remainder of the Library Lovers Month and Black History Month. Just a few of the items to highlight would be the story time programs on Thursdays at 10:30 AM, as well as Tuesday at 5:15 PM. Both for children ages 5 and under and their caregivers. Their teen anime club is starting off a new series this week when they meet on Friday at 3:15. The club is recommended for ages 12 and up. This week's Saturday movie, February 24th, starts at noon, will be A Haunting in Venice, following the tales of Agatha Christie. Next week, the Dunellen Public Library will be having a pink drink dupe program on Monday, say that 5 times, February 26th at 3:30. Participants will be able to create their homemade version of a Starbucks pink drink using supplies readily available at their local grocery store. This program is intended for ages 9 and up. Registration is required as supplies and space are limited. Please call or email the library for registration. The library will be hosting a snowy scenery painting program for ages 6 to 11. Participants will use painting techniques of their choice to create a snowy scene of landscaping. As a quick note, the Dunellen Public Library would like to say that tax season approaches. They have free form 1040s with instruction booklets, very limited quantity of the booklets available for pickup for Dunellen residents interested in doing their own taxes. And as always, please check our Facebook and website for information. And last, please consider volunteering in your community. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Vandermark?
Yeah, the police report for today is the final report in for the totals for 2023. We had 3,563 summonses, 2,467 motor vehicle stops, 178 arrests, 79 DWI charges, and 18,762 CAT incidents. That's my report.
Thank you. Mrs. Lance?
The Mayor's Traffic and Pedestrian Task Force has had several productive meetings and is actively engaged in implementing various initiatives aimed at enhancing both driver and pedestrian safety across Dunellen. Acknowledging the community's concerns regarding traffic safety, we are diligently advising the Mayor and Council on the progress of ongoing road enhancement projects. Moreover, this week, MTAPs, in collaboration with Keep Middlesex Moving, will be visiting the local elementary school to discuss the importance of safety measures for pedestrians and the benefits of walking to school. As spring approaches, our goal is to encourage families to make walking a weekly habit to reduce morning traffic. Additionally, MTAPS is developing a community engagement program with more details to come soon. We're pleased that MTAPS is growing in membership and encourage you to join if you are interested. As for buildings and grounds, earlier this month, the Borough office was assessed by all risk property damage experts who discovered surface mold in the storage area. The mold has been successfully removed with a section of the wall and shelving dismantled for the process, but reconstruction is already in progress. In a bid to enhance our downtown area, we have introduced LED lights beneath the Prospect Avenue Bridge. The upcoming phase includes the installation of similar lights under the South Washington Ave Bridge, followed by the installation plan for the Madison Ave Bridge or portion of it. Furthermore, we are delighted to share that thanks to additional funding from the Community Development Block Grant Program, the Borough is moving forward with the installation of a drop ceiling in the senior center. This improvement will boost energy efficiency and address acoustics issues in the space.
Thank you. Mr. Sigmund?
Thank you. No report tonight other than to further encourage parents out there to be a soccer coach. And you do not have to be a great soccer player to be a great role model to these kids. So please volunteer and help me.
Thank you. Mr. Paulson?
Soccer announcement.
All right, for tonight's report for the DPW, crew has been cleaning the downtown daily as well as our properties and parks. And this lovely weather has continued to keep them crazy busy and working long hours. So the crew prepped, salted, and plowed the roads for both snow events on February 13th and February 16th into the 17th. Reminder again for everyone, please move your cars off the street prior to and during the storm, especially when the snow is accumulating. This clear path will allow the plows to operate more efficiently and leave less of those frozen icebergs that you see all around town, where cars were parked. So please, you have time, there's plenty of notification, move your cars to either your driveway, the front yard, or what we got, the Legion, the library, so. Yes, please, I mean, it does create a little bit of a problem once the stuff does freeze, it is left in the street, so. And plus, Chief, your team will be out there taking it if they're on, still on the street, so, yes. We've had a couple storms this year, I know we were a little lax probably last year, we barely had any snow, but we can get in a routine now, because another one's coming. So, I'm staying that, so hopefully it doesn't happen. Also, this weather creates potholes, and the DPW crew has been busy filling those. They've serviced and repaired the plows and the equipment in between both storms. They clear all the catch basin lids throughout the borough. That these need to be constantly done to allow for the water and ice melt. Tree and bush trimming when they had some time at various borough locations. They continue to run the multiple leaf bag loads for the DPW yards to drop off dump. Continue to monitor the streams to make sure they're flowing and there's no new blockages. And to top off all this craziness, the senior bus was shut down for fortune, but they needed some safety repairs, so they were able to do that as well in that time, and they obviously need to keep our seniors. On to the Dunellen Rescue Squad. The Dunellen Rescue Squad just had 2 cast members rejoin the squad. I guess they kept hearing about the new building and wanted back in, so the squad would like to welcome back former Chief and Navy veteran Robert Bracamoni. Is that right? Sounds like Italian, but sounds pretty good. And former Deputy Brett Munkle. So both of whom will be working on recertifying to become EMTs by the end of June. I believe that will make 3 new EMTs this year. 2 to 2/3. So I believe you had 4 last year from what Jeff has said. So that is great news. The resurgence of the squad is in full swing now. So for more information, please visit dunellenrescue.org for all new updates and for ways you can volunteer.
Thank you. Mr. Miller, you have the mayor's report?
Sure. All right, so just to go over a couple of things that the ordinance that you just passed for Comcast. Mayor Salento's been working on it with Comcast probably for about 6-7 months on getting them into the town. So the first step was today, getting the right of way so that they can go to the BPU to come into town. Obviously, no charge, and they give us another internet provider, which would be a big asset for the town. One of the most common things you see on Facebook is my internet's not working. So it's a big thing, and it'll be really helpful for the community. The other thing that was discussed tonight was the capital benefits. The new health plan that we're going to be switching over to, and this went through with the police, the PBA, and then DPW. Obviously, we had to negotiate whatever was in their contract. It has to be equal or better to the previous insurance that we had. We're still going to be in the state insurance benefits, but with the new plan, the borough can save somewhere between $65,000 and $125,000 a year. After last year, the Dunellen and many towns and boroughs got hit really hard with the increase. I think our increase was around $220,000 last year. So it'll be very beneficial for Dunellen. From CME, Klein Place, looks like we're about a couple weeks away from starting over there. In our pre-construction meeting that we had later in January, one of the discussions we had was that making sure that original plans had tie-ins going to certain, residents that had some pumps that were dumping out on the street. Well, in the meeting, we mentioned to CB that we want all of them tied into the stormwater system because there could be 5 or 6 right now that will be tied in, and then there'll be more sump pumps dumping out on the street. So we're trying to avoid that. So since it's going to be a whole new stormwater system, we're going to have connections for each resident, whether they have it or not now. They'll have that option later on, so it'll be beneficial because one of the biggest problems that we have over on that area, I'm sure Councilman Vandermark could attest to it, is that when the water's dumping out on the side of the street, there's probably about a 10-foot strip of ice that goes down the side of both sides of the road, which is extremely dangerous. So with the new stormwater system that we're gonna be putting in, there's gonna be 9 catch basins installed on that street. And then the all new lines running up and down the street, we're gonna have clean outs to each resident's house. So this way, again, if they have some pumps now, we'll tie in. If they don't have them, and eventually they want it, they can just tie right into the stormwater system. So we don't have that problem anymore. Lincoln Ave, final payment was done for that project. So we should be looking in the near future, getting the final grant reimbursement from that DOT project. Washington Ave street lighting. That project is going to start going out to bid. It's DOT, and that'll be getting new street lights, decorative street lights from Washington Memorial Park to Dunellen Ave, and then on the other side of the North Ave, from North Ave to the railroad trestle. So that'll be on that project. That's just going out to bid right now. CME is also put into the New Jersey DOT on proposed lights, more lights, decorative lights on North Ave. And that would be probably, that most likely would be going from Sanford Ave going towards the Middlesex border. So we'll see what we get out of that. And that's a wrap on the CME report. If I go on to, are we going to department heads now?
Yes, we are.
So now we're gonna go to department head. A lot of stuff has been put out in the report, but a lot of progress has been going on recently with the firehouse, and I do gotta say, both Chief Scott and Jeremy Louder have been really helpful, and I appreciate all you guys. It's really ramping up, and you guys have another set of eyes over there to have been very helpful. So thank you.
Okay. Chief Scott, you have anything?
Pretty much covered it. We're just waiting to reoccupy. We're starting to meet internally as officers or plan for reoccupancy. It's a lot of stuff to move. The sooner the better, so you can stop paying for the tenant with the fence.
Yes.
Trying to keep, as Alex mentioned, with his health as well. Barry and I are trying to keep making us speak to the fire and all five. So it's a monumental task for one fighting.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Chief Smith, you have anything? Rescue squad? You didn't? Anybody, any department heads out on the meeting? No? Okay. Then we're going to move on to public comments. If anyone from the public wants to speak, we ask that you please state your name and address. Okay. Hearing none. Can I have a motion and a second for adjournment? Oh,
Anyone that's on Zoom or watching TV.
Nobody's on there, right?
yeah, I'm sorry. Thank you for that. Okay, motion second to adjourn.
Move it, Sigmund.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. We'd like to thank everyone for joining us this evening, and remember that our next meeting is on March 4th at 7 PM right here in Borough Hall. Thank you.